Shy men of Reddit, how did you meet your girlfriend /so? I used to collect hockey cards and have a pretty sweet old collection. A new girl at work asked me about my hobbies and I told her about them. I jokingly said she should come over and take a look because she is kind of into hockey. So she comes over and I'm showing her and she starts laughing because she thought I was using come over and check my hockey cards out as some sort of weird cheesy way to get her to my house. I had no idea that she was into me, but we have now been dating for 2 years. Guess you can say you played your cards right. Fell asleep on her shoulder while sitting next to her, traveling. Then unconsciously took her jacket for use as a blanket. Married 11 years now. Boy, that would been awkward if she hadn't liked you. My buddy walked up to a random girl and said, "You see that guy over there? He wants your body." I didn't even see her nor him do it. She called me a week later and now we've been together 5 years now. This is the same buddy that 3 months prior convinced the entire freshman class in high school I was actually gay. My GF had to ask my other friends if I was gay before pursuing me. He thought it was hilarious. That is your best friend. No matter what you say, that is your best friend. Convinces people you're gay. Excellent wingman. Best friend indeed. We were on a team in college. She sat down close to me on a bench. I scooted over. She scooted over. Repeat until end of bench. I stood up. My friend Brandy saw that and said, "You stupid shit. If you don't ask her out, then I will." Married 30 odd years now. So you scooted away and she kept scooting in pursuit until she scooted you off the bench. On RuneScape, we dated for about a month before she came out of the closet as a 38-year-old male. It was brave of her to admit, but it ended our romantic prospects. We first really hit it off at a mutual friend's birthday party in high school. I was too shy to ask her out and didn't really think she liked me. On Valentine's Day I got a secret admirer card in my locker. A friend of mine recognized the handwriting. I called one of her friends, who I was friends with as well, and asked her if I should ask her out. The friend thought that would be a great idea, so I did. We ended up dating in high school while at separate colleges and have now been married for 13 years in June. Edit. Clarifications. We dated in high school. I went to college while she was still in high school. She then graduated high school and went to a different college over 3 hours from my school. Just this past June we celebrated our 13th anniversary. Holy crap. Thanks for the gold. This post gives me a lot of hope. My boyfriend and I have been friends through high school and have been dating 7 months. We head to separate universities, but we plan to stay together and have already discussed how important having a future together is for us. Was getting through university so far from her challenging? 2 of my friends who were high school sweethearts broke it off in college saying they would re-evaluate after because that kind of long distance relationship is straining. They are happily married for 6 years now. I was having a LAN party at my parents' house in high school. She was interested in exactly why I was savagely whooping everyone's ass at StarCraft and Warcraft 3, and we hit it off while I explained what they were doing wrong. She admits now that she didn't really care about the game and just thought I was cute. I was having a LAN party at my parents' house in high school. This is literally the most unlikely situation to meet your so. Grats dude. Thanks. She was friends with one of my slightly more functional Warcraft 3 buddies. Knew a girl from a couple of my best friends. Actually became really good friends with her. She was dating someone. She introduced me to one of her co-workers and she and I have been dating for 1.5 years now. When trying to get to know a girl, remember, you can become just friends with her because she has friends that are probably single. As a man with a large amount of girlfriends, this doesn't work too often. They usually try to pair you off with one of their lesser attractive friends that has a great personality. Pro tip, if people are setting you up with unattractive friends, you just might be unattractive yourself. What if they aren't setting you up with people at all? How bad is it, doc? Female here, answering on behalf of my boyfriend. He stared at me all semester long from 3 rows ahead of me, and once exam day came, I decided I had enough and was too intrigued. If he wasn't going to talk to me, I'd talk to him. Every single time I'd catch him, he shyly looked away. So I aggressively gave him my number. before running off to write the exam, and once he texted me, we hit it off. Turns out he had been trying so hard to gather the courage to talk to me, so he was just ecstatic to receive my number. Funny part is, before handing him the piece of paper saying text me XXXXXXXXXXX, I was so nervous about walking over to him that I was just playing with it and dropped it at one point. I quickly grabbed it before anyone could see what it was, but he told me he saw me drop it and was going to pick it up and hand it to me. I thought it was hilarious. He would have been picking up my number. Alas, I grabbed it too fast and he hadn't gathered the balls. It's been a year and a half, and WE_RE* wildly in love. Edit, he didn't stare in a gawking sense. I'd just frequently catch him looking at me, at which point he'd just look away. He didn't post this himself, because he doesn't really post at all. I simply had to share though. I saw her one day, stared awkwardly, averted eye contact, when she looked in my direction. She still hasn't met me though, but whatever. True love and everything. Right guys? Right? Dude, we might like the same girl. You guys should 1v1 eye roll. I drank her water by accident. I thought it was for us all at the table. Broke the ice anyway. Went to the same college. She was doing a project and needed different opinions on a topic and messaged me on Facebook. I misinterpreted her intentions and said we should do it in person. Been together for 4 years because I was brave enough to ask a simple question. Edit, word. My boyfriend has always been fairly shy and quiet. We met back in high school and had been friends for 4 years before anything happened. He'd always shoot me these awkwardly worded texts, asking what was going on, if I wanted to come to his house and watch movies. He was also pretty noobish and wore meme shirts for the better part of our friendship, so I never saw him as boyfriend material until my ex broke up with me and I found myself at current BS house. We'd watch my favorite movies and he'd sit quietly and let me vent about how terrible my ex was, and then one day we are dry humping on his futon and he's no longer the nerdy friend. He definitely won the race with slow and steady. I'm glad you were able to change him. Now can you give him back to us please? He's been missing from the internet and we are worried. Tell him we miss his dank memes. Got high. She texted that she wanted some cuddles. I like cuddles, so I said okay. Turns out, she didn't want cuddles at all. We've been together for 2 years now. It started with a lie. How will it end? A truth? My sister was going to the movies with friends, and I was told to get out of the house for once and went with. Ended up sitting next to one of my sister's single friends. Made a rather off-color joke about one of the pre-movie ads. A week later I ended up at her place and the rest is history. So are you willing to tell the joke? At a family gathering, one of those where it's a bunch of your family and a bunch of other families that are all friends. I had just gotten out of the hospital for some sad stuff, so I wasn't really in the mood to be around a bunch of people, so I went out front and sat on a bench. Apparently I stole her seat because she came and started going off on me. When I pulled the hole that doesn't have your name on it, she simmered down. I made room for her and she sat. We got to talking, mostly her talking and me sitting there being miserable, and I couldn't help but think of how annoying she was. She tried to force feed me candy and I didn't want any. She tried to tickle me. She just annoyed me the whole night. Then came the time for her to go home. I, out of politeness, offered her my number and instead she gave me hers. Well, here we are more than 5 years later. My favorite part of our story is, my dad and her dad were best friends growing up. I never knew about her or anything, even though we had been at many of the same parties, we went to the same school etc. But I never really paid attention until that night. She met me, and courted me, and forced me to hang out. I tried my darndest to shoo her off 6 years and counting. She yanked me out of my weird shell and passively boosted my confidence. I'm now very friendly and outgoing. I appreciate her a lot. Blink 3 times if you need help. I realized that if I didn't make a move, I wouldn't have a chance. I manned up and went for it. She was not interested. However, I continued to overcome my shyness, and it worked out eventually.